Today we're going to take a deep dive back into the 3rd gen ECMs, technically PCMs, and take a look at tuning, so stick around. Everybody, welcome back to the garage, and I guess welcome back to the office. We are set up in the office. We're going to be looking at some 3rd gen tuning, and we're going to kind of dive into the basics, getting things set up, ready to tune, and we'll kind of do a series of different things. I've got some videos out there already. You can check out tuning101.com in order to get to our playlist, but I thought I would update some of this information and just try and streamline a little bit of it. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. A couple things right off the bat. We're going to be using I believe a P01 ECM that's hooked up thanks to bench force on our bench here. Literally, this is kind of what the setup that we're using right here looks like right now. We've got the power block in a harness. Thanks to those guys for supplying us with the harness. And then we'll also be using our Goat Rope Garage layouts. And so if you want to grab yours, if you go over to goatropegarage.com and hit up the store, underneath the store you can find the download for the channels and graphs layouts. So let's go ahead and get those set up, get everything ready to go. And so I've got the scanner opened up here. I want to go ahead and go to layouts, and we're going to do open layout and go to where I have saved my layout files here. And let's open this up. There, we've got our layout. I like to get rid of the graph on the side. You can open that back up if you come back in here and add the chart versus time. And if I do have it open, I normally keep it pretty small over here. And then we need to go ahead and change our channels here. So let's open a channel configuration. And we need to go back to where I have my file saved, which is on my backup drive. Okay, now these channels are set up to be kind of universal across the different platforms, 3rd, 4th, 5th gen. Same with this stuff over here. And so what we want to do is we're going to go in the graphs layout. So we're going to clear some of this up because we don't need all this stuff on here. So we'll get rid of a lot of the 4th and 5th gen stuff and just kind of leave us behind with the Gen 3. So we can look specifically at that. Now we've got what we want to look at. Let's dive into a tune file. So if you're connected up to your vehicle for the first time, we're going to go ahead and open the editor, hit the read vehicle, and we can gather info. It should connect up. We'll see if we can see our ECM. There it is. We got a P01. Thought it was a P59. Turns out it was a P01. We'll go ahead and read this thing in, and we want to do read entire. This is a PCM, so the engine controls and transmission stuff is all on the same module, and that's pretty standard across the Gen 3 platforms. Okay, as our read of the ECM finishes up here, it's going to prompt us to save this thing, and this is going to be what we call our as found. So whenever it pops up here, we want to save this as a new file. So I'm going to create a whole new folder for this one. Say this is on a 1999 Camaro or something. And I'm going to come in here and make sure that I list this as my as found. This is going to be the reference file that I go back and look at so I can compare changes, things like that. Now, keep in mind, if you open this up the first time, there's a good chance whenever you do that your view is going to be switched to basic. And so what will happen is you'll be missing a lot of windows. You can get a lot done with just the basic view, but if you see me go through some of this stuff and I'm talking about something you can't see, make sure you go up to edit, go to view, and switch it over to advanced. It's going to tell you that you have to close the window to get it to take effect. So we close it out, open engine back up, and now we've got all the extra tabs and parameters. So now that we've got our as found file, we need to get our histogram set up, our histograph set up in the scanner. And as I said, you can use the layouts, but I'm going to show you real quick how you can build these things out. One of the big things that you want to do is make sure that it matches for what you're doing. And so in this case, we've got everything loaded up, EQ, AFR, and we're going to start by looking at our mass airflow sensor. It should be a 12K, but we need to verify that the parameters read right as far as we are reading in Hertz. So let's go over to our mass airflow calibration. It's underneath engine, airflow, general. We're going to open this table up, and we're paying attention to this top row because this is our reference row that we're using to collect data against. And so in order to make sure that this is the same, we can just look at and see it goes to 15 up to 12 and verify here that we're 15 up to 12 And we just want to make sure that the delineation is the same. So 2625, 2750. So if we come down here, 2625, 2750. So that chart matches up. Now what happens if we need to build this from scratch? We're going to come over in here and we're going to go into our graphs layout. And under there, we're going to add a graph. So we'll add a table down here, and this is going to be our new table. The big thing that we need to be aware of is the parameter is basically the math that's going to generate the values into the histograph. And in this case, we're looking for an error ratio, either EQ error or AFR error. So we want to click the parameter, and we'll come all the way down into the maths, and there's pre-populated maths that will work as long as your parameters are being brought in properly. And under lambda and AFR, we have EQ or AFR error. So we'll go ahead and set this one up for EQ ratio error. Brings it in there, changes the name of it, but we want to make sure that we know that this is for our mass airflow sensor. And then decimal points 1 is perfectly fine. Cell hits, this is going to determine how many times you have to populate data into a field for it to show up on your graph. And it's good to have some of this in there. I like to start around 10, and what it does, it means that you have to hit that cell. If we see a frequency of 2750, we have to get a reading at 2750 hertz at least 10 times before it populates that data in, and then it's going to be an average. And so it actually allows us to kind of filter the data and make sure it's more reliable data, because if you have this set to 0 and you shoot past a cell, it will log something in there, but it may kind of, like the wideband might be trying to catch up with the changes that are being made to the command and things like that. So cell hits required is always good. So then we also have shading, which helps to read the graph. And I like to come in here and put these out to about 10. And this is going to be equivalent to percentage. So we'll have a high value of 10 and a low value of -10. Now the high value says that we are 10% lean. Low value says that we're 10% rich. And so we can add colors to denote lean and rich so we can look at it on the fly. Last but not least, to build out the mass airflow histograph, we're going to need to add in our mass airflow. Whenever we type in mass airflow up here, it will bring up all of our options. And a lot of people will go straight to mass airflow, which is a mass flow rate, but we're not actually using that to build this graph out. We need to look at our graph, which is based on mass airflow frequency, and use that parameter. So we want to find the one that reads in frequency, add that in. And if it pops up and says, hey, this is generic, go ahead, you can use it. Should work perfectly fine. And then we can verify that the units match up in hertz. Then what we need to do is come back over to the editor, and we need to copy this top row. And the easiest way to do is to go up in this upper left-hand box, right-click in column axis, and we can just copy the labels. That allows us to go back over to the scanner and just literally paste this thing in. Boom. And there we've got all of the correct labels up there. And if we look at our table now, we have a table that if we were to scroll through will match our mass airflow table. That's the mass airflow table. The volumetric efficiency table works exactly the same way, except we're setting it up versus engine speed and manifold absolute pressure. And so where in the mass airflow, we only use the column axis. On a VE table, we will use the column and row axis, but you can see most of this is all set the same. EQ error ratio. We only have cell hits of 5 here, but you can still put that at 10. And then, we've got the shading a little bit more aggressive on this one. This one's set up with mid value being 1. That's actually wrong. We should probably change this. Change that 0, -10. There we go. And now we've got a EQ error graph set up. So it works the same, but once again, if you do grab the ones from the website, you want to make sure that the columns and rows match up to your table that you're using. Now let's go ahead and connect up to the ECM, verify that our scanner is reading in parameters that we need. That way we can start logging. So we'll connect up. It's going to go through, it's going to go out and poll the ECM or TCM. And what I like to do the first time is go ahead and repoll for supported parameters. It's going to go through the entire list to see what's available, make sure that it is not missing out on some stuff, and then it's going to bring it back in. Now, whenever we go to record, you're going to see these gray ones drop out. These gray ones are not available on your platform, and in fact, if you wanted to, you could actually come in and delete a lot of these. I don't know why engine RPM would be showing up. It must be listed something different on this PCM. But we can drop a lot of this stuff out to clean this up to match our setup. A lot of these torque stuff, obviously, we're not going to have. And then let's record. And so now we're getting our live data in. We've got our mass, cylinder air mass in here. We are going to have to add some things back in here. So one of these, we've got a wideband in here. This is specific up to the AEM 30 series, and this is relying on serial to bring it in. If you need to add your wideband, you can do the channel selector, come down here, and if you're using the MPVI-2 Pro, you have your analogs. If you've got the original MPVI, you have the analogs here. Or if you're using the serial port option, expand that out and find your serial port. So let's add in AFR on here also. And then we need to add commandeds. So the commanded are going to be what is the ECM trying to get the engine to run at. So it's important to have both these on here. If you're commanded in AFR, you need to have AFR commanded. If you're commanded in EQ, which I suggest, have EQ ratio commanded. Then let's go ahead and replace this bad engine RPM. So we can just come in here, type in RPM. We'll grab this SAE one, and we can remove this one. And now, once we connect up, we should be good to go. Now, you'll see these two right here disappear because we don't have a wideband hooked up right now. Another thing is if you have a wideband hooked up serially and it starts disappearing, come down in here to your search bar and type in Device Manager. And what you're going to be looking for is, let me drag it over here so you can see it, is your ports. So if we come down through here, in fact, I don't have any ports on here. You should have COM ports, port devices, and whenever you expand it out, what'll happen is you'll have your serial port that you have the USB to serial hooked up, and then you may have 2 or 3 others on here. Go ahead and remove the ones that are not the USB serial port, because if you have multiple COM ports on there, sometimes the software will grab the first available one and it won't actually pull the wideband data in. So now that we have everything set up for logging, we have our as found file, we're going to dive into mass airflow and volumetric efficiency tuning in the next couple videos. So I just wanted to do a quick one to get you set up, get you familiar with the things that you're looking for as far as getting the data ready to log. Make sure and watch the next videos in this series because they're going to touch on what settings you need to change on the ECM, things like that, in order to actually get out there and start tuning. So if you have any questions on what we did on this video, by all means hit up the comments down below, ask questions. Make sure and check out the descriptions. It has links to things like the MPVI-2, you know, different things that I use, the widebands I use, and things like that to help get you started. And you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Search out help on the forums. The Goat Rope Garage group on Facebook is a great place. You know, I personally don't get on Facebook, but I know the guys that are running that, and they're great. Good at answering questions. There's a lot of people with good feedback and experience over there also. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, but I want to thank you as always for stopping by the garage. And remember, ABT, always be tuning.